Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
Certainly you could find a way to diversify your interests and pursuits in more of a safe manner, even though I believe nothing is really safe. Failure rule number 2 is nothing is safe. But you can certainly do that if you're intentional, if you're self-directed, if you're, very self-aware. But oftentimes I think the reality is that our failures and our hard times and the unexpected kind of, blockades that come our way often are the disciplinarian in our lives that forces us to learn these lessons.
In Confessions of a Winning Poker Player, Jack King said, "Few players recall big pots they have won, strange as it seems, but every player can remember with remarkable accuracy the outstanding tough beats of his career." It seems true to me, because walking in here, I can hardly remember how I built my bankroll. But I can't stop thinking about the way I lost it. To the nice guys on business. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by TurnKey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
Hey, nice guy community. In today's social media world where everyone is a success, it's good to be a failure. And I do mean that from the heart. Now, don't believe me. Believe Andrew Thorp King, self-proclaimed serial failure, punk rocker, cigar lover, and entrepreneur with companies to his credit like Failure Rules and Soul on Fire. Here to talk all things failure. Andrew, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Doug, thanks for having me here, man. Great to be here. I'm looking forward to diving in.
I'm happy to have you here. So, nice guy community, we do audio only here, so you can't get the picture of what I had a chance to see of Andrew. Cigar smoking, hat wearing, tattoo, ink covered. He is all over the place when it comes to exactly what you think a successful entrepreneur might not be. But the reality of it is he is that guy, that he is ultra successful in spite of the fact that he's out there promoting failure. So why did you make failure your success, Andrew? Let's start there.
Oh, wow. That's a 489 page answer to that question, which is the book, Failure Rules, the 5 Rules of Failure for Entrepreneurs, Creatives, and Authentics. So the genesis of this book really was a beach walk I took at the end of 2013. I was kind of thinking about these 2 twin failures that were happening in my life. One was a business divorce from a partner in the online lending firm that I was involved with, where we had an online portfolio or an online lending portfolio in the country of Belize under their license, one in the state of Delaware. And there were some issues there, and I had to exit that business. And it was a contentious kind of split, business divorce. I was also on the precipice of what I knew was likely going to be a marital divorce. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about all the off-road entrepreneurial venturing I had done in my 20s and my 30s as I was on the precipice of turning 40. And it was, all the things that I've encountered in terms of roadblocks, failures, hard times, twists and turns, and circuitous ways to success as I was doing things like, owning a fitness center, running 2 independent record labels, which I still run today. Other things like, bodybuilding competitions, running a spy novel, all these different things, doing financial planning. And I thought about the Winston Churchill quote, which was, success is going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. And that so resonated with me. Yeah. Because enthusiasm really was the thing that kept the lion heart going with me. It kept me going as kind of an endorphin of the spirit through pain, through hardship, through disillusion, back into aspiration, back into ambition, back into reinvention, and into new ventures and spreading my wings, in the ashes of each failure. I mean, failure rule number 1 is failure purifies. It's the idea that the phoenix must burn to emerge, and that really when we go through failure events, if we can look at them with kind of an objective mind, we can see that oftentimes it's because old things needed to die, new ways of thinking needed to flourish, old foundations needed to crumble, and new foundations needed to be built so that we can expand and grow into our best next selves.
How much stuff do you think there is in common between failure in business professionally and failure personally, as in marriage? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have failure in all those categories and all of the above as well. And I say fortunate because I think that, from the ashes, the phoenix rises. I am a true believer in that. What lessons can you learn if everything just goes straight line upward to success. I feel like I've learned my best life's lessons as I'm crashing and burning. Doesn't feel so good at the time, but when you get back, you're like, man, that sucked. Man, I should do that again though. Tell me about that. What do you feel is in common between professional and personal failure?
Well, you're right. It does suck in the heat of it, right? And in the heat of failure's arrival, as it's stinging you, as it's kind of deconstructing you with its power, it does suck. I mean, the tagline of the book is after it sucks, failure rules. So first it's going to suck, right? I mean, that's like inevitable. And the most self-evident failure rule is try to avoid it if you can. But for those that are going down interesting, difficult, unorthodox career paths or life paths, to be authentic and to maximize, the use of your unique composite of talents, your unique talent stack, like you have to prepare for the inevitability of failures and it's good to premeditatively think about that. And that's what the book's about, to make sure that you can leverage it, metabolize it, and optimize it. And I think you're right. I think, one of the things it talked about in the book is, what is the kind of, emotional elasticity that kind of is the result of going through certain failures. And I think it does increase your emotional intelligence in relationships, both business and personal, because now you're more sensitive to the wide array of potential eventualities that could happen, or the potential ways of looking at things. You're positively less certain about things, which makes you wiser, and also makes you more understanding when you're going into certain complex deal making. And so I think that's some of the benefits. And I think also just, the ability to have humility and empathy, which I think are great anchors for when success does occur. If they're already anchored into you because of failures, it makes you, I think, more, a more potent, influential, and positive model of success when it occurs. If it's from, those experiences of failure that might have conditioned within you humility, empathy, and those type of attributes.
Great, characteristics to have: humility, empathy, compassion. Those are all things that you get from going through failure. You remember what it's like, and you certainly have empathy and compassion if you're doing it right for people that have actually gone through it as well. How much weight would you feel like there is put in the, as you started to mention all of the things that you have been involved in, whether it was bodybuilding, record label owner, a podcaster, punk rocker, speaker, spy novelist, fintech banker. I mean, all of the stuff that I know is in your background. Somebody might listen to this and say, and again, I'm not throwing any stones here. I'm the last guy to throw a stone. I'll be here right with you on the other side. Sure. But somebody might say to you, of course he's been a failure. He's got the shiny object syndrome. Do you need to, or should you not have shiny object syndrome in order to experience failure, or to get to the other side, which hopefully at some point will be success? What do you feel about that?
Well, for me personally, I don't think it was shiny object syndrome that brought about failure. It was probably the opposite. It was probably tunnel vision on just one certain area. It was actually then the failures that forced me to think about reinvention in a new way and to expand my own view of how to use my talent stack in the world. But it wasn't really until the failure struck that kind of split me, broke me open, cracked me wide open to embrace reinvention and then discover new ways that I could emerge in the world and have an impact. And even create success and allow my life to flourish. So for me, it wasn't quite that, and so it was really more like the failure caused me to think about myself in a more multidimensional way, and then I realized over time, like, this is a better way to think about future failures and to prevent them, or to be prepared to absorb them, be prepared to I hate the word pivot because it's so overused, but to pivot. Right. So I talk about in the book a portfolio pursuits mentality, to be an octopus rather than a fish, which comes from a Gene Simmons quote. He talks about, obviously, it's better to be an octopus than a fish. You get one tentacle sliced off, you got 7 more to swim with. And it's the idea similar to the investment strategy of diversifying, or skeptics would say diversifying. But, it's the idea of for your pursuits, for your interests, even if not monetized, I think it's really good to cultivate a wide array of interests and pursuits, even if they're disparate, right? Because as you do that, you can have passion for each one of them. You can be committed to each one of them at different levels, different paces, at different times. But you're not over-identifying with one. You kind of recalibrate this portfolio of pursuits over time based on the percentage of either money or meaning that one element of that portfolio might be giving you at any given time. And then the idea is that on the aggregate, for most of the time, you can hopefully be as close to obtaining 100% as much as is possible in both of those buckets, in both the money and the meaning bucket, right? So both in terms of your earning potential and both in terms of your fulfillment, right? So for me, that's the way I view it, which allows me to kind of slipstream in and out of certain pursuits or de-emphasize and de-emphasize different ones at different times and calibrate as I go. And I'm really conscious of not over-identifying with one. Should one crumble? Should one shift? Should one, survive but diminish in its power, diminish in its potency?
Think about for just a second your peaks and valleys. A peak and a valley, success and failure. A failure might be in your particular case, looking through your history, a bankruptcy. It might be a divorce. Success might be having $1 million in the bank, or whatever success is defined by you. There's others that are out there in the world that probably have maybe smaller strokes of up and down, meaning they don't quite get as low as bankruptcy. They might have no money in the bank, but they haven't gone to bankruptcy. Can someone experience what you're talking about without having gone through the extreme failures and the extreme successes that you have seen, or do you think that benefits your journey and you personal?
I think they can, but I think oftentimes, particularly with the case studies that are detailed within the book, I'm often kind of looking at profiles of people that it really has been either the unexpected lows or the unexpected kind of, or even sometimes even the predictable failures that have struck them that really has catapulted them, really has molded them and forced them into a sharper focus as they reemerge. Right. So certainly you could find a way to diversify your interest in pursuits in more of a safe manner, even though I believe nothing is really safe. Failure rule number 2 is nothing is safe. But you can certainly do that if you're intentional, if you're self-directed, if you're, very self-aware. But oftentimes I think the reality is that our failures and our hard times and the unexpected kind of, blockades that come our way often are the disciplinarian in our lives that forces us to learn these lessons.
Some might call you a thrill seeker because of so many of the experiences that you've had that have crashed and burned. But I know that this isn't who you are. I know you don't seek failure, but you certainly don't run from it. What frightens you? What scares you?
Oh yeah. I mean, all of it has scared me, but really what it has been is, going forth anyway, and looking to those that have been in similar situations and trying to distill what wisdom they have to give to someone in my situation. This book really is, a collection of that distilled wisdom, right? So, I mean, the case studies range, a wide array of fields and personalities, and everybody from, legendary boxer Jack Johnson to author Stephanie Land, who wrote the book The Maid, where there's a Netflix show made about it, to the author Stephen Pressfield, to former gang leader Elgin James, to a professional bowler Thomas Smallwood, the punk rocker Henry Rollins, all these different people. And I think from that standpoint, I'm trying to think here what the root of that question was here before we went off this tangent.
No worries, man. I'm just having a good conversation with you because what's really cool about it is I have many of these conversations over the almost 10 years that I've had this podcast, and sometimes people come and they're too scripted. And, I when I first connected with you, I sensed an opportunity to have a conversation just about failure in general. So I don't really care, what direction the conversation goes in. I'm just enjoying having the conversation. And I completely relate to it, whether it's personal failure or professional failure that somebody goes through. I'm 100% on your side. I agree with you. I think that people learn a lot more from failure than they do from success. I'm always questioning the people that have that straight line up to success. And I'm always wondering, what do you have to share though? Because nobody can relate to that. Everybody can relate to the fucking failures, but they can't relate necessarily to hey, I had this event. I got everybody to show up and it was a 6-figure event. And now I'm sitting on top of the world on my 7-figure business. I'm like, you know what? I just want to say fuck off, because that's just not real life for most people.
It's not real, right? You do have to show both sides, and you don't want to make it. And, so this book is really not like failure porn. It's not saying that failure is great. Go after it. Don't do any calculations. Don't do any real planning. Don't be prudent. Certainly not saying that. It's really the opposite. It's really saying, like, they're going to happen. Let's try to reduce them, but let's also try to think ahead of time on how we can maximize them. And let's prepare our minds so that we do occur, we view them properly, and we don't over-identify with the failure events. Failure rule number 5 is you are not your failures, right? So decouple your identity from the failure events so that you can properly learn from the failure and figure out how it's going to inform your next steps in a better way. The root of your question there really is, am I a thrill seeker? Like, yes, I guess I am. Do I take risks? Absolutely. Do I take risks more wisely now than I did in the past? Absolutely. Which is, this book is kind of an aggregation of kind of those lessons I think I've learned from failure. And it's really the blueprint for me moving forward. I mean, there's even been, events in life since this book has come out a year ago where I've literally gone, oh, wait, how should I be thinking about this right now? And I literally refer to my own writing that I may have forgotten the details of to help guide me through a current failure. So this book is like perennially relevant even to me. It's almost like if I only wrote this book just for myself, even that was fucking worth it, because I need this for the rest of my life. Like, this is a note to me. This is like note to self. You know what I mean? The fact that others find value is even better, but it's a note to self, first and foremost.
Yeah. And just so you have it in Nice Guy Community. So the book came out last September, right? September 22. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the book came out about a year and a month ago as of the recording of this. Couple of reviews that I want to read to you right now. It's got over 100 reviews. So you know that he's walking the walk and talking the talk as well. And absolutely, if you get somebody on the show or you hear somebody that actually has 100+ reviews on the show, you know that they have gone through this, the stretches to make it happen. Randy writes about the book, A Way Forward Through It All. Failure Rules gives tools and skills you need to embrace failure and provides the blueprint on how to use failure to improve yourself and forge your own path straight through the obstacles. Jason writes, again, 5-star review, there will always be failures in life, so get some good advice from a brother of the leaf, Andrew Thorp King. He has been through the ringer and made his way back. Grab a cigar, pour a good pour of bourbon, and kick back with his book. But it's not just two guys, Randy and Jason. Amy wrote, and again, plus another 98 other reviews, 5-star review. You need this book if you're any type of entrepreneur, creator, musician, or even just someone who lets failure get the best of them. This book is very inspiring. Definitely check it out. That was from Amy. So you got some fans on your side, it sounds like, Andrew.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a cool thing, right? I mean, this journey has actually been so fulfilling, really. Just like since it came out, like the challenge of trying to build an audience to get people to pay attention to it. It's tracking like kind of perfectly well, right? Like sales are literally almost to the number, a little bit above the number where I hope to be after a year. And, building the followers on Instagram, been on 50+ radio shows and podcasts, and meeting all these different interesting people from different walks of life and finding all the intersections into the themes of the book. I mean, the podcast span of what I've been going on is everything from, music-oriented podcasts to cigar culture, obviously entrepreneurial thought, to spirituality and wellness, to even, some libertarian-esque politics type podcasts. And so it's really all over the place. And then just, the messages I'm getting from, readers, that have been impacted by it and how it literally has informed some of their real-time decision-making. And they're able to report back to me on the other end how they've made their failures rule and how this book was instrumental in helping them do that. That was the whole point, was impact, right? Like, the economics of putting out a book, particularly when you're really going for it, the way I have, and putting a good amount of money and lots of effort into it, getting a return without some sort of wild, quick success is going to take some time. And I knew that. It really was about the impact and about the joy of engaging in these topics with others in multi-formats. And that has just been amazing. And so it's already to me, I already won. The fact that that's already happening, I'm already winning. I love it. Winning in terms of the goal,
So the book, again, Nice Guy Community, is called Failure Rules, the 5 Rules of Failure for Entrepreneurs, Creatives, and Authentics. Andrew Thorp King is the guy that wrote it. He is right here with us today. And before we wrap up, I got to ask some of these questions because these are some, I'm a podcasting hammer. I've been in the business for almost 10 years now, and everything looks like a podcasting nail to me. How the hell do you not have or hosting a podcast already, Andrew?
It's coming, baby. It's coming. It's on the whiteboard wall. The Failure Rules podcast will happen. I've just been kind of like gathering, the network of potential future guests, waiting for that to swell a little bit. And I've just been doing so many podcast appearances. I just want to exhaust that for a little bit more. And then next year, I'll probably be focusing on like a paid speaking tour. And then maybe towards the tail end of next year, I'll probably launch the podcast. And it's going to be, I'm really aiming to have some really interesting, wide array of personalities from a variety of spaces, business and from music and the arts and cigar culture. And, get these raw, inspirational, powerful failure stories out to the world.
I love it. And, behind every great success was a huge, massive fucking failure beforehand. So I love it. And again, as a guy that produces podcasts, I want to be first in line when to raise my hand saying, hey, I want to produce the show and help you get it. Not only to grow a community, but I want to help it, build your influence. And then, of course, we want to help you go to the bank as well. So I put me in your book because you are now in my book to follow up next year on this subject.
Awesome. Love it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for sharing. Any final words of wisdom that you can share with our community that is wrought with failure right now because they've been listening to this for the last 30 minutes? Oh, and by the way, before I give you a moment to think about what that final piece of advice, Nice Guy community, know this. At the beginning of this connection that I had with Andrew, not through my connection through email, but actually on Zoom today, we started the first 15 minutes of this conversation was all failure. Technology wasn't working right. Microphones weren't working right. Internet connection was not working right. Video, the Zoom wasn't working. There was probably 5 or 6 things that were built in there that were all horrible. And we could have both thrown our hands up and say, you know what, Doug, this just isn't working. Or I could have said, hey, Andrew, let's just connect another day. I'm not in the right space to carry this through. Man, I'm glad that neither one of us did that, aren't you?
Absolutely. And that's a great metaphor to extrapolate out to, doing both things in life and in business and in art. Absolutely.
All right. So final words of advice that you can give to our community that sometimes experiences failure in life.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to the bookends of the rules. Failure rule number 1, failure purifies. Remember that when failure strikes, oftentimes it's there to burn off things that need to be burned off from you so that new things can be born. And remember failure rule number 5, you are not your failures when you're going through a failure event, although it may feel like it. You are not that event. Decouple your identity from that and remember that it is just an event. It's a point in time. And what matters is how you use that to then become your next best, more multidimensional, stronger, wiser self as you move forward in your calling journey. So they would be my last words. And then lastly, I'll just point everybody where to get the book. It's available everywhere online. Failure Rules with an exclamation mark. Get anywhere books consumed online. There's an audiobook too, which is awesome. And you can find me at andrewthorpking.com. No E on the end of Thorpe. On the website, get a free Failure Rules mini course. There's a link to a merch section with some awesome merch designs. Also a soundtrack for the book. And follow me on Instagram, where I'm mostly active on Instagram, at Andrew Thorp King, knowing I'm in Thorpe. You're laughing at the soundtrack, aren't you?
And you can tell Nice Guy community, he has nothing to promote at all. He just gave you 18 things to that you have access to him. And just so you, in case you lost any of that as you were listening to this episode, just know that I will make sure that all of that, including social media links and access to his website, will be right there in the show notes. Thanks for being here, Andrew. Thanks for sharing your expertise with our community today.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Doug.
Hey, Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice or the power of a good failure every now and again. Special thanks to Andrew Thorp King. All of his information, including access to all of the stuff that we just talked about today, right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. Fill up your week with the Nice Guys. Trust me, this is going to hurt me a lot less than it's going to hurt you.